Hey everybody, thank you for joining me for episode 2 of the Seller Series. So last week I promised that I would bring you some information on why you should use a real estate agent. This information and statistics that I have gathered actually comes from the 2020 National Association of Realtors report on home sellers and buyers. So these are statistics gained from last year's market. First things first, probably the biggest reason of all to use a real estate agent is you are going to net the most amount of money when you use a real estate agent. And I'll go into that real quick. We know that when a FSBO, for sale by owner seller, sells their home, they do not leverage all of the marketing tools that are available to a realtor. A realtor uses the MLS, they use online websites, they use video and photography, video websites for advertising. Sometimes they'll use print ads that's not terribly popular. They leverage social media. Basically, your agent knows where to connect with people who are looking to buy real estate, and therefore they leverage that entire toolbox in order to bring the most amount of people to your listing to get you the most amount of money. Home sellers don't have access, nor do they really know their way around these tools. They might be savvy in a couple of them, but they're not savvy in the entire library of tools that a real estate agent has at their fingertips. As a result, only 8% of the market last year chose to sell their home for sale by owner. Of those for sale by owners, 51% of them knew their buyer. And when they knew their buyer, maybe it was a family friend, maybe it was a neighbor, maybe it's someone who's been wanting to buy the house for a while that they had a relationship with. In those situations, those for sale by owners, 51% of them, sold the house at asking. Those that didn't know their buyer often took less than their asking price. Now this is important because according to these statistics, the for sale by owner, FSBO's home price is often much lower than the actual market price. So they might think that they're saving money on selling their house without a realtor, but in all actuality, it's costing them money because they're leaving a lot of equity on the table for the next person that buys the house. In the 2020 study, NAR discovered that the average FSBO home sale price was $217,900. On the contrary, when they used a real estate agent, that number was $242,300. That's a difference of $24,400. Now, if you factor in a commission of 6% for that $242,000 price tag, you're looking at netting about $10,000 after you paid your real estate agent. So even though you hired a real estate agent for 6%, you're still putting more money in your pocket at the end of the day. And if you had an additional $10,000 in your pocket, what would you do with it? That study also told us that FSBOs have an average 2 weeks on market as opposed to real estate assisted sales, which are 3 weeks on market. Now they are selling faster, but at what cost? What the report found is that the cost is equity. Usually the FSBOs are selling faster because they know who they're selling to. When they're selling to somebody that they know, they tend to sell at asking, but if they don't know who the buyer is on the other end, if it's a stranger, just someone they picked up, they're tending to sell under market. Why? Could be a couple of reasons. That other person might have a real estate agent who's very good at negotiating and they know that they're up against someone who doesn't know how to negotiate, or it could just be a situation where the seller doesn't know what they do and don't have to negotiate on, and it's just ignorance that ends up costing them some money. That leaves 92% of the market who chose to use a real estate agent. Of the 92% that chose to use a real estate agent, 89 said that they would work with their real estate agent again. So